Hey, this is Mary with Better Day Consulting and Credit Repair. And today I'm going to talk about what is a debt collector and why are they contacting me. So, under the Federal Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, a debt collector is a person or a company that collects on behalf of another person. Basically, they collecting on behalf of, like, well, if you owe a debt to, say, Capital One or something like that, and it happened to go through charge off and they sold it to a collection agency, then that collection agency is contacting, collecting you, contact you to collect on behalf of that original creditor. So, like I said, under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, and I just want to let you know what that is. That's the main federal law that governs debt collection practices, and it's also called a FDCPA for short. And it prohibits debt collection companies from using abusive, unfair, or deceptive practices to collect debt from you. You know how they try to contact you and try to trick you into answering different questions and stuff about the debt for you to admit that you owe? Well, they can't do that. So the debt collectors, they usually include like debt collection agencies or lawyers if the lawyers have collections in their practice. And they usually buy past due debts from businesses, after they done tried to collect from you and they can't. So they just write it off and send it to a debt collector for the debt collector to contact. So for them to contact you and get payment on that debt. So why are they trying to contact me? Well, of course, because a creditor believes that you owe them a debt. You owe them a debt sometime in the past that they didn't collect. So they send it out to the creditors, debt collectors, to collect on behalf of them. And a debt collector may also be calling you to locate someone, as long as they don't like tell you that they calling from a debt collecting company. So they can't say, hey, this American Express, I'm calling for Mary Taylor and she owes us $15,000. So no, they can't do anything like that. So if a debt buyer bought it from a collection, if a debt buyer bought it, they may turn it over to a collection agency to collect them as well. So if a debt collector call you and you like, I don't know about this debt that you're trying to say that I owe, or the amount that they claim you owe, or you don't even recognize the company who they even calling about, you may want to speak to an attorney about that. But before you speak to an attorney, and then if you do owe the debt or you think you may be able to set up a payment plan with them. So when you setting up a payment plan with them and you know you owe the debt, you recognize who the debtor is, and yet I know I owe them, and then they may want to set up a payment plan with you. If that debt is, say, like $5,000. Well, look, Mr. Debt Collector, I don't have the money. I really want to pay my bill, but I don't have the money. And then you just go ahead and negotiate with them to try to get a lower amount. And if you do negotiate with them for a low amount, you just have them to send that to you in writing, saying that, on behalf of that debt, that, you will owe a balance of, say, $1,000, and you will pay it in monthly installments of $100. But before you even do that, you let them know that you want to pay to get that deleted off your record, and they will have to send you a letter stating that your balance will be paid $1,000, $100 a month until it's paid off, and it'll be deleted from your credit report, and you won't owe anything like that on it again. So that may be the case with that. And if you do pay them, do not pay them with a check, because now they have access to your bank. Don't pay them with a debit card. Now they have access to your bank. Don't pay them with a prepaid card or anything like that. Pay them with a money order or a cashier's check. And make sure you keep good records for everything that you send to them, every correspondence that you send to them, and everything. So everything needs to be in writing. So for instance, if you say, hey, this is not my debt or whatever, you don't recognize that debt, so you can ask the debt collector to stop contacting you, but you have to do this in writing. And even though they may stop contacting you, you tell them to stop contacting you, that don't prevent them from trying to file a lawsuit against you. They're going to still try to send it to you, and you don't have to sign the paperwork that come in the mail, but they're going to show that they attempted to send you a document in reference to you going to court. And that way, they'll get a judgment if you don't show up in court, because if you don't show up in court, then you can't defend yourself or nothing like that. it's basically saying that you owe this debt because you didn't show up. So now they're going to get a judgment against you, and now they're going to get a garnishment against you to garnish your pay, your wages, or your check, or your banking account, or whatever they can get, right? So if you don't owe them, and I don't know who this is, and I don't think I owe you, I need proof that I owe you this amount, right? So because sometimes the debt may be too old, and of course it's going to affect your credit score, affect your credit report, and it's going to affect your credit score by being on it. That's why I say if you know that you owe the debt, go ahead and negotiate down with them and get a pay for delete letter. It's called pay for delete. I pay for this, and you're going to delete it off my credit record. So it's a win-win for both of us, right? But in the event that you don't do that, and this, I'm confused about this debt. This debt is not mine at all. I have no clue what this is. So usually they're gonna send you something in writing. Hopefully they done sent you something in writing. You done got a letter before you done start getting the phone calls. So have them to send you something in writing, because a phone call don't really mean that. I mean, they just making a phone call harassing you basically because they haven't sent you anything in writing. So if they do send you something in writing, you have 30 days, to reply back to the debt collector. And if you look on the little tickler there, it's gonna, I have a link to get some debt collection letters, and I just want to show my screen for a second. I'm gonna show you a sample letter. Let me see, is this it? Yeah, this is it right here. You may not can see it really good, but if you go to that site, that link that I put up there, you can actually see what I'm talking about. So this letter is basically to the debt collectors. And you're going to put the debt collector name and address on there. You're going to put the account number, whatever account number that debt collector is references, because the original creditor have their own account number for your account with them. So when you referring back to this debt collection letter, you referring back to the actual account number that they're talking about that you owe to them. So you're going to say, hey, Mr. Debt Collector, I'm responding to your contact about a debt you are trying to collect. You contact me on, by mail or phone, whatever they did on such and such date, and identified the debt as, however they said it was, whoever they said it was for, whatever. See, then you're gonna say, please supply the following information so that I can be fully informed. So you want them to prove to you that you actually owe this debt. So you're gonna ask them a series of questions, right? So you're gonna say, why do you think I owe this debt, and to whom I owe it? And then you're going to include stuff like you're going to want the name or the address of the creditor who the debt is currently owed to, the account number used by that creditor, and the amount, because the account number is going to be different. Remember I said that the original creditor have their own account number, and the debt collection people have their own internal account number as well. So you want to ask them the name and address of the creditor who the debt is currently owed, the account number used by the creditor, and amount owed. Then you say, if this debt started with a different creditor, provide the name and address of the original creditor, because sometimes it passed or they've changed their names or whatever. You're going to ask the account number used by the creditor and the amount owed to that creditor at the time it was transferred, right? So when you identify the original creditor, please provide any other name by which I may know them if it's different than the official name. And then you want them to tell you when the current creditor obtained the debt, excuse me, and who the current creditor obtained it from. You're going to ask them to provide verification and documentation. Now you may want to bold that or make it in caps and the word and documentation that there's a valid basis for claiming that I'm required to pay the debt to the current creditor. You got to prove to me that I owe these people. You just can't come to me and say, hey, Miss Mary, you owe such and such, and I'm collecting for them. And you want to ask them to provide you a copy of the written agreement that created my original requirement to pay. So you may want to highlight, bold, and make that in all caps to original. So if you're asking that I pay a debt that somebody else or was required to pay. So because sometimes you maybe get caught up with people that you are authorized user on their account, and you may get caught up like that. So you got to prove that I owe this, and I signed these papers saying that I'm going to pay these people back based on the terms and conditions that was included in the agreement. Now we're going to talk about the amount and age of the debt. And you're going to talk about including, you're going to want a copy of the last billing statement sent to me by the original creditor. You're going to state the amount of the debt when you obtained it and when was that. And if there have been additional fees, how do you come to these fees? How do you itemize? And then, in addition, explain how these added interest fees or other charges are expressly authorized by the agreement creating the debt, are permitted by law. Because if they add these fees up, they got to be, just can't be adding fees. Want to add fees up. It's got to be something written, documentation saying that, these fees going to be added according with whatever interest rate that it is. So they just can't add stuff on there because they're debt collector. We want to add this on there. I know you can't all do all that. And say, if there are any payments or other reductions since the last billing statement from the original creditor, provide that documentation too. Is there been a changes or adjustments since the last billing statement from the original creditor? I want to know that too. How everything was calculated, I want to know that too. Tell me when the creditor claims the debt became due and when it became delinquent. Give me that too. Since you want to collect, I want all this information, right? So identify the date of the last payment made on this account. And details about the authority. I would like more information on your firm before I discuss the debt with you. Does your firm have a debt collection license from my state? Ask them all these questions. Don't be scared to ask them. If you are contacting me from a place outside my state, does your firm have a debt collection license from that place? You're going to ask them all these questions, right? And like I said, don't be afraid to ask them because you're talking about a debt that you're going to have to pay, that they're trying to require you to pay. And you say, I asked for this information because I have some questions. I need to hear from you to make an informed decision about your claim that I owe this money. So, you asking them all these questions, and you may want to go back up here and let me see. Please supply the information below so that I can be fully informed. You want to put in there, please supply all the information, because you don't want them to just send you one little thing and say, hey, I send it to you. You want them to supply you all the information below so I can be fully informed. Not one letter, not this, that, and the other. I'm asking you for all this information. I can't make no informed decision based on one of the document that you send me, based what you have in your computer database. I don't want to see that. I want to have all this information coming to me so I can make an informed decision. And use the time, if you're asking for all this information, they ain't gonna have all this information like you asking them. So more than likely, they're just gonna delete it from your record, and then you don't have to worry about paying anything. And then you take that and then you send it to hopefully they can go ahead and send it to all three of the brewers. But if they don't and it's deleted, then you make sure you send it to the other brewers as well. Say, hey, I sent this letter original credit, to the debt collection agency, and they couldn't provide me with this information, within 30 days. So they just gonna have to delete it. So you just have to know your rights as a consumer. I hope you saw that. I want to educate you on your rights as a consumer. But if you go here to debtcollectionletters.betterdayconsulting.com, you will see some of the sample letters, and including this one right here, and you can take it and make it your own. And you can put whatever verbiage in there, change to make it sound just like you when you're doing it. But make sure you put that word all in there, because you want all of those documents, not one or two of those documents, because you need to have all this information so you can make an informed decision, because you may have to compare it to some records that you already have. And like, where they come from with this? I don't even know these people. Or where they get this price from? Oh, it started off at $1,500. Now it's at $1,000. How I owe all this money? So those kind of things you want to ask. And more than likely, they don't have them, because the debt has been transferred from the original creditor to a collection agency. And more than likely, they done wrote it off and, sold it on to somebody else and bought it and all that. And they done went to somebody else. And then, as time goes by and as they transfer documents, and, you get less information. You know what I'm saying? It's like the little game we used to play when we was kids. You whisper in somebody's ear and you say, and then by the time you get around to the whole room, and get back to the person, the last person, they have to tell it back to the person who started. And it's basically the wrong answer. And that's basically what this is right here. The original creditor starting with me. And by the time you get around here, then you ain't got all the information that I said, that I started off with. So it's kind of like that game right there. You just have to be patient. Don't be scared when they call. Don't be scared when they when they send you these letters, you get out, oh, they're gonna sue me, oh, they're gonna take me to court, oh, I'm gonna pay them. Well, you know what? I ain't no attorney. I can't tell you what not to do, but I just put this information in front of you so you can make your own informed decision on how you want to handle that debt collector when they call you. So like I said, questions you want to ask them, you want to see it in writing, because if I can say anything over the phone. So you want them to send you a letter. And if you get a letter in the mail, go ahead and reply back with the sample letter that I just gave you. Or if they call you on the phone, reply back with the sample letter that I gave you. And, you know, go ahead and send it certified. That way you will make sure that they are getting it and they sign for it, and you know they got it on a certain date. So go ahead and do that. And I hope this brings some of those negative items off your credit report when it comes to collections. And again, I do free credit consults. My name is Mary Taylor with Better Day Consulting, and I do free credit consults. You can schedule a free consult at creditconsult.betterdayconsulting.com. And if you're ready to sign up for our program, you can go to signup.betterdayconsulting.com. And I hope this video helped you. Go ahead and share it to as many people as you can, and let them be informed, because you know a lot of people out here with these debt collection people emailing them, calling them, or sending them letters, and they don't know what to do. So I just want to make sure that you guys are informed on what to do when they call you, who they are, and why you're calling me. Okay. Again, my name is Mary Taylor with Better Day Consulting and